Tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV Spotlight On. My name is Jeff Graham, and I'm here with the, again, fabulously talented Ramona Young. So honored to have her in studio. If you guys want to catch me on the internets, you can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and Instagram at Jeffrey Crane Graham. Ramona, introduce yourself. Where can the people find you?
Hi, my name is Ramona. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at Ramona, B-I-S-H, Young.
Nice. You can also find her on The Real O'Neills, Super Fun Night, and so much more. I'm so excited because it's clear to me that you're on the cusp of a huge career, so I can't wait to talk about it today.
Cool. Yeah.
But before we dive into kind of your acting life, I'd love to talk about kind of the beginning. I was doing a little research, and I saw that you moved around a lot when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Do you sort of want to talk about that experience of moving and like where, how, and why?
Okay, sure. So my mother joined the military when I was very little, like I was around 6. But even before then, my mom just kind of likes moving around. And so we would just move around a lot. Like we would move down the street. I would change schools like every year to every other day. And that would just sort of happen.
Yeah. Did you like moving?
Yeah, when I was little, I did. And then when I got older, it started to get harder, like towards high school and middle school.
It's interesting because in LA, where both of us, you live permanently now, right?
Yes.
In LA?
Yeah.
So it's so funny because I feel like for so many people, LA is kind of a restless city. It's where it's kind of where you go after you've been moving and maybe you don't feel like it's home. But I bet for you, there's an element of like, this is the first place you've ever kind of been settled.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I never thought of LA that way.
Yeah, because it's such a transient city. But I guess if you've been here, it sounds like maybe longer than anywhere else.
Yeah, I've been here quite a while, like about 5 years now.
Nice. I will say, though, in LA time, that's not that. You've done a lot in the 5 years that you've been here, which is very exciting.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. So what do you think? Moving around, do you feel like that shaped or inspired you as an actress? And if so, how?
Yeah, I'm sure it has. I mean, there's probably some things that I am not even aware of. But I feel like moving around has definitely made me more sympathetic to people that I'm not, how do I say, like, similar to? Yeah, so it's helped me understand people that are different than myself.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
I'm not an actor, but I know that actors say one of the most important things to give a good performance is kind of to be able to empathize and relate to people. Would you agree?
Right, and to be able to, like, listen to someone else's story and translate that into your own terms, which has a lot to do with sympathy and empathy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Listen to your own story and translate it. How did you say that? I was like so interested in that. Listening to someone else's story and translating it into your own terms.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what that means? I'm fascinated by that.
Oh gosh, okay. I'm sure there's like a million other people that can do that better than me. But it's just like, like if you hear someone get their dog run over and you've never had a dog, but you had a cat that died from cancer, you might be like, oh, I get that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
that's a horrible example.
No. I get it though. I get what you're saying. Is as an actor, you sort of have to take A and turn it into B. You know what I mean?
B.
There you go. AFTERBUZZ. No, I get what you're saying. I think there's something there. There's something there for sure.
Yeah, there's something in there.
So what do you think, growing up and moving so much, what do you think was your favorite place that you landed? And what do you think was maybe the toughest place that you landed?
Gosh. One of my favorite places growing up was probably living in Florida. I lived in Florida when I was 8, and I just loved it so much because there was a lot of nature around.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was living on base, and we had, like, this sea turtle that would come up to our backyard.
Wow.
And one year she, like, laid baby eggs in our backyard, and she like swam back into the river and out into the ocean.
Wow.
And so like after school, I would just kind of sit by the eggs and make sure that birds and stuff wouldn't try and eat them.
Good for you.
Thanks, yeah.
You were mothering on behalf of the sea turtle.
Exactly.
So Ramona Young, professional actress and sea turtle egg watcher.
Yes.
In case you didn't know, you should put that on your Twitter bio.
I think I should.
Very cool. And then what do you think was a challenging place?
When I was like halfway through freshman year of high school, I moved to Utah, and that was very hard because I had moved there from California up in Monterey. So that transition was so different, and having it be in the middle of freshman year was really crazy.
I'm sure that helps you. Your character on Real O'Neill's is a high schooler, is that correct?
No, she's in college.
She's
I'm
in
just
college.
Kidding. She's in high school.
She's in high school. Okay, I panicked. I was like, I thought I did my research. I'm sure, I mean, a lot of the characters on Real O'Neill's are kind of outcasts trying to find their way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that your experience in Utah maybe kind of helped shape your performance on that show.
Yeah, it's made me the awkward person that I am today.
I love it. Very cool. Okay, great. So when did you start acting?
Well, like acting school or in general?
Maybe like what was your very first exposure to performing?
I don't know. When I was 6, I used to pretend that I was a television and do different stuff.
You'd pretend that you were a television?
Yeah, and be like different channels and different characters on each channel.
Sounds awesome. That sounds really great.
It sounds a little crazy, yeah.
But also very, very interesting. And then did you ever start performing on stage?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I started off on stage. Well, I started majoring in theater.
Okay.
So that was my experience on stage.
I saw that you started college at 16, right?
Yeah, well, 15.
15.
Yeah, but I graduated high school and got my associates when I was 16.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was also presented both advantages and challenges.
Sure, yeah. It did because, well, first of all, I wanted to graduate early because my mom wouldn't let me move to LA and start acting like seriously until I had some college in me. So that's why I was just like going to summer school every single year.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, challenges. My brain wasn't developed enough, so a lot of things went.
I had a buddy in college, still very close to me, and he always like looked a little younger than us, but like we never thought anything of it. But at the college I went to, there were a lot of 18 and over bars.
Right.
So like most people could, like freshmen could go because they were 18.
Yeah.
But our friend would never go with us. We'd be like, oh, you should come. He's like, oh, I'm just like not in the mood and I'm not feeling it. When we were seniors, we learned that he was like 3 years younger than us and none of us knew. And he just never told us.
How did he keep it up so long?
Well, like he would
For
never.
3 years.
Isn't that amazing? Maybe we were just dumb because we never.
No.
But it was just we were like, oh my gosh. But it shows you that age really is just a number.
It really is, yeah.
Because, you know, it's people that you connect with more than anything.
Definitely. I agree.
Very cool. So you graduated from Cal Arts?
Yeah, Cal State LA.
Okay, Cal State LA. And then it looks like you got involved in acting schools within the LA community.
Yeah.
Your first one was Playhouse West, is that right?
Yeah. I mean, but before I actually decided to go to acting school, I actually did Avant-Garde Theater for 2 years.
Okay, I want to hear about this. Talk about this.
So I did Avant-Garde Theater for 2 years, and basically we would just perform on like metros or on the street, and we would do like mask work and call out shapes and hold poses and do weird things like that.
So is it narrative theater or?
It's not narrative. It's like intuitive theater. Sometimes it's spontaneous, and sometimes we would actually set every movement and sound up. It's called it's not. What is it called? What's her name? NYU. This professor in NYU taught it, and my teacher at Cal State LA, Tanya Kane Perry, taught us for like several years, and that's what we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think you learned from doing like kind of street avant-garde theater? How to not care what people think, probably.
Not caring what people think, because people definitely said some pretty weird things.
Yeah.
But also like listening to your intuition, even if it comes up like physically within you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
It must be interesting because I feel like commercial TV is the complete opposite of avant-garde theater. Or is it? Am I right?
How so? What do you think?
Well, again, I'm not an actor, so I want you to
no.
help me out here. But it seems to me like avant-garde theater isn't necessarily designed for the mainstream.
Right.
Whereas like a lot of commercial TV, especially probably like network, for example, would be designed for like, you know, like a family in the Midwest. What do you feel like were the similarities to the acting you're doing now and maybe some of the differences between avant-garde theater and what you're doing?
You know, it's actually is quite similar because in avant-garde theater, we kind of like talk about the usage of space. And when you do commercials, it's all about like how this person fits here and this person fits here and this person looks this way, so this person should stand next to this person.
Interesting.
And it's all kind of like subconscious, but it works.
Hitting your mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just being, I guess that's the one thing. I have some friends who are actors and they say one of the things you really have to get your mind around is just like being aware of your space and like using your body in a way that communicates what you're trying to say. So I'm sure that was some of the training you got.
Yeah.
Very cool. So this was pre-Playhouse West, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So Playhouse West, is that like a TV film acting school or?
No, it's like it's a scene study class, and we practice the Meisner.
Meisner,
technique.
okay. I've heard of Meisner.
Cool.
Let's see, I've heard of Meisner and Alexander.
Alexander
technique, is that something?
I've never.
That might be
heard of that.
theatrical.
Maybe.
And then Stella Adler, she's a big one, right? And then isn't there one more?
There's Lee Strasberg.
Strasberg, that's the other one I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. All my actor friends.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, hey!
Hey.
Maybe I'm an actor and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, you are.
Very cool. So it seems like your first kind of big moment was booking this co-star on Super Fun Night, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear about this because I love Rebel Wilson.
Yeah,
And I thought that
she's
was a
great.
very underrated show.
Yeah.
What was it like kind of having your first TV moment being on Super Fun Night?
I was super nervous, and I spent like an entire day studying my 5 lines. And right before I went up, I kind of went blank. But Rebel Wilson is just so cool, and
Is she?
she was just like, "You're doing really well," and in her Australian accent,
Nice.
and she was so supportive and cool. Yeah.
Awesome. I used to sing in an a cappella group, so that's one of the many reasons I'm a
Nice.
huge fan of the Pitch
Yeah.
Perfect series.
Exactly.
Very cool. Since then, you kind of had a little bit of a recurring role on Real O'Neil's. What's that been like?
Very cool. I mean, ironically, it's like from the same casting director.
Oh, nice.
From Super Fun Night. So we kind of bumped into each other like 2 years later, which
Great.
is kind of cool. Being on the Real O'Neil's has been like a real treat.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
It's a really great show, and I love what it says, just
Me
about
too.
family and inclusiveness, and it's so unafraid to explore the complexities of family, you know?
Right.
But it does it in a way that's still very warm.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
ABC, I gotta say, with those family comedies, is just killing it. I love Modern
yeah.
Family, Blackish, but like I love Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
It's a fun team for you to be a part of in that group of just family comedies. And you've enjoyed working with like Noah and the whole cast.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time on set, it's just hugs and smiles,
love
and everything is so positive there.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Now, I was asking you before our interview. Right now, you're doing some production on Simon Rich's show Man Seeking Woman, which
Yeah.
is public because I read it in your bio. I know you can't say too much about
Yeah.
what you're actually filming because it hasn't come out yet. But for those who don't know, Man Seeking Woman is a show on FXX. It's amazing. If you don't watch it, I think it's one of the best sitcoms on TV right now. Created and kind of executive produced by a writer named Simon Rich, who used to write for SNL but has a lot of great short story collections. So I just want to hear a little bit, without saying, I know you can't say too much, but just about your experience on Man Seeking Woman and how it's been.
It's been a blast. Working on that show is like as fun as the show itself.
Nice.
It's great. We're just like a bunch of kids that get to be creative, and we all get to like have an input, and it's okay to be like creative and have ideas and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That show's executive produced by Lorne Michaels. He hasn't been on set at all, has he?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I met him like once or
You've
twice.
met Lorne?
Yeah.
When did you meet him?
At like a lunch thing that we all kind of just met up at. Yeah.
Very cool. Was he? I get the impression He's very professional, very good at what he does. But I would be a little afraid to meet Lorne Michaels.
Yeah, it was very brief.
Yeah,
So.
not enough to probably get a read on.
Right.
The thing is, I feel like people could know Lorne Michaels for 2 years, though, and still not necessarily have a read on who he is.
Right.
There's a podcast I like a lot with Mark Maron, WTF. I don't know if you ever listen to that podcast a lot.
Yeah.
His obsession with Lorne Michaels is one of my favorite things that kind of tracks through the whole entire series.
Oh,
so.
very cool.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to see what you're doing on Man Seeking Woman because I think it's such an underrated show and very brilliant.
Yeah,
So-
I agree.
Cool. Well, it's I'd like to talk about just some of your experience as a performer and maybe some advice that you might have because you're a young actress in LA. What do you feel like is something that you weren't told that you wish you were as a young actress in this town?
I feel like everything that I've kind of taken and worked on has been told in like a certain way, but I've had to like understand what it really meant by going through it. You know what I mean?
That's a really good observation that you can be told something a million times.
And it just doesn't register until you actually
Live
go
it.
through it.
Yeah.
Like I hear a lot of things about like, oh, like have an idea, don't be afraid about who you are and whatnot, and you don't really know what that's like until you actually try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Who are some of your biggest acting inspirations?
I'm a huge Benicio del Toro fan.
Nice.
I think he's great. I think Mark Ruffalo is great.
Me too.
Jim Carrey's like a huge comedic
Influence.
I love his work.
Very cool. So who would be your dream actor to work with? I know I'm kind of asking a similar question.
Yeah.
Do you think Benicio or?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just learn so much from people like them.
What about like a dream director?
Dream director. Guillermo del Toro is really cool because of the movies that he makes and stuff like that.
Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favorite
Oh my
movies I've ever
gosh,
seen.
me too. Yes.
Very cool. And then I was just thinking The Strain. Do you watch that show at all?
No.
It's on
no.
FX. That's Del Toro, but
Really? Oh yeah, I've heard about
there's
that.
one more
yeah.
season, so
Great.
talk to your manager and see if he
Okay.
can get you in that. And then finally, like I'm interested. So many actors nowadays are kind of like multi-hyphenates. You know, they're not just actors; they're writers, directors, producers. What do you feel like is the trajectory? Do you feel like you want to focus on acting your whole career, or do you think you could see yourself kind of veering into other territories?
Hopefully veering off into other territories
Great.
on top of acting, yeah.
Very cool. Anything specifically that interests you, or?
I really enjoy writing.
Great. Awesome. What kind of stories do you like to tell?
I like to tell stories that are kind of fantastical.
Cool. Like Del
Yeah.
Toro.
Yeah, kind of like fairy tale based, like morality fairy tale based.
Do you watch Once Upon a Time on ABC?
I watched the first season, yeah.
Okay, nice. I know our producer in the booth loves that show.
Oh,
so.
cool.
This is a fun one. I know this might be on the spot, so
Yeah.
if you need to think about it, you can.
Great.
But
Let's do it.
your favorite movie that you've seen this year?
What movies are... Oh, you know what I saw last night? I saw this film called The Eagle Huntress.
Interesting.
And it's about this 13-year-old girl that breaks like this 2,000 or 1,000-year tradition of being male eagle hunters,
Oh,
where they hunt with eagles.
Cool.
And she's this 13-year-old girl that's just like, I want to hunt with an eagle. And she like climbs a mountain and like harvests like a baby eagle and trains her
Oh
and
my
becomes
gosh.
like this eagle hunting champion.
wow, that sounds great.
It's incredible.
I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see it yet, but Don't Think Twice, Mike Birbiglia's movie,
No, I haven't.
was excellent.
Okay, I'll go check that out.
You know who's in it? Do you know anything about Kate Micucci, the actress? I feel like you kind of give me the energy of a young Kate Micucci, which is a big compliment.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know.
No, she's great.
Yeah, great.
Definitely, I
I'll
recommend
take
that
it.
movie. It's a movie about this New York improv troupe, and one of them.
Oh, I do know what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
Excellent. Probably, I think
Great.
I will say, at the risk of sounding negative, I don't think it's been a great year for movies. I don't know if you agree. I feel like 2016's been kind of. Last year was so good.
Last year was great.
I
I
know.
agree with that completely.
But
yeah.
I haven't been blown away by any movies
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year. that being said, I did love Don't Think Twice. So
Okay.
to you and anyone watching, I'd highly recommend that movie. And as someone who's traveled, both for work and for growing up, do you have a place that you've gone to that you feel like is not necessarily frequently visited, like an underrated travel spot that you would recommend people visit?
Oh yeah, go visit Monterey Bay.
Nice.
Have you been there?
You know, I actually have.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Is there the aquarium,
The
right?
aquarium.
And then kind of close to Carmel, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
very beautiful area.
I went like maybe 12 years ago, but I'd love to go back.
Yeah,
So.
it's like a place that you don't go to often,
Right.
but it's worth the visit.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so you're working on a project called Santa Clarita Diet. Is that right?
Yes.
You probably can't say anything about it, right?
I don't know. What do you want to know?
I know Netflix is very lock and key about their content.
Okay, yeah.
Like, did you watch Stranger Things this year?
Oh, absolutely.
First of all, how great was Stranger
It
Things?
was fantastic.
But no one knew about.
Right.
I feel like it was like all of a sudden the biggest summer blockbuster just showed up on people's TVs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I haven't heard a lot about this.
Great.
Has it been fun?
It's been a blast.
And the cast is released, so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
You're working with Drew Barrymore, right?
I did scenes with Tim Oliphant and Liv, who
Okay.
plays the daughter of Drew Barrymore. I saw Drew Barrymore on set.
Nice.
And I ran into a moving van and stared at her from inside because I
Nice.
could not approach her. But yeah, so that was.
I
that
love
was
hearing
neat.
about actors getting starstruck. It's,
Yeah.
For me, it would be Pete Holmes. If I ever got
yeah.
the chance to meet him, I think I would freeze up. But looking forward to that. I know you probably can't say much, but do you know when it's dropping? Any idea?
Sometime next year. Yeah.
Sometime next year.
Yeah.
Anything else that you'd like to promote?
I'm really excited about Man Seeking Woman.
Me too.
Santa Clarita Diet. I just recently did a short called The Uprising.
Cool.
And I hope that gets received well.
I know you write and direct some. Is that one you wrote yourself?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I do write a lot of little shorts and stuff. I'm
Anything,
working on
any of
that.
those that you want to promote?
I have a short called Reflections that I'm submitting to festivals
Cool.
still. So
Awesome. Good for
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Great. Well, if there's nothing else,
Yeah.
I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah, woo! I survived.
You
Oh my
survived. You
gosh.
killed it. You were
Almost had a
great.
heart attack.
It's so funny to me because, like, I feel like the idea of being on a set feels so much more intense
Yeah,
than
this
situation.
microphone is incredibly intimidating.
You know, with the black and yellow stripes. For those who can't
Yeah.
see, some of our content is released audio
Oh my
only.
gosh.
So yeah. Well, Ramona, I can't thank you enough for being here today. Guys, it's been a blast. For those who tuned in, thank you so much. Again, my name is Jeff Graham. If you want to catch me, you can do so. Sometimes I'm interviewing here. I'm also covering The Good Place on NBC on AfterBuzz TV for those of you that follow our after shows. And I'll be covering Broad City when that comes back, so I can't wait. If you want to catch me on the internet, you can do so on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and Instagram at Jeffrey Crane Graham. Ramona, how about you?
What about me?
All your socials.
Oh yeah, Ramona, BISH, Young. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter. Woo!
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here. And guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks again.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.